One of the easiest ways to make the front door of your house shine is to upgrade your house numbers. I've been a big fan of one particular company, Modern House Numbers, for quite a while. I've got their numbers on my house, and I recommend them to a lot of my clients. But I didn't even know how much I loved this company until I sat down with owner Brandy McLain recently. Today's episode is our chat about all things house numbers, how she and her husband, both trained as architects, started by making numbers for their own home and then got asked about them by envious and interested neighbors so many times they basically had to form a company to deliver on demand. We'll dig into the details that make for a great house number design and all the unexpected things you can do to spiff up the numbers on your home. Hey there, welcome back to Mid-Mod Remodel. This is a show about updating MCM homes, helping you match a mid-century home to your modern life. I'm your host, Della Hansman, architect and mid-century ranch enthusiast. You're listening to Season 11, Episode 11. All right, let's get right to the point. If you want to tune up the mid-century charm of your exterior, start with 3 easy steps. 1, new front door color. 2, new mailbox. And 3, new house numbers. By the way, I'll be sharing a discount code for you to get, as a Mid-Mod Remodel podcast listener, 10% off your modern house numbers right in this episode. If you want to take your mid-century exterior upgrade a little further, show up on Saturday, March 18th for the 2-hour live workshop I'm giving on all things mid-century exterior. I'll have answers to your questions on what to do first and why, how to make the right choices about house color, accent colors, and other elements, how to make the right replacement choices for siding, decking, concrete, and windows, and how to pull together an entire exterior upgrade that will take the mid-century charm on your home from modest or muddled to mid-mod magnificent. If you're not free on Saturday, sign up anyway. The replay of the workshop will be available right after we hold the live event so that you can watch it on your own time or share it with a partner who wasn't able to catch the goodness live. Find the transcript, the discount code for Modern House Numbers, and the link to sign up for this weekend's design clinic, which, among other great benefits, now includes a drawing for 1 free set of house numbers to one of the clinic attendees at midmod-midwest.com/1111. Without further ado, here's my chat with Brandy McLain of Modern House Numbers. I wanted to start by thanking you for the delightful hat you sent, which is so cute, is my brand new favorite hat. And I'll post a picture on Instagram of myself wearing it in a minute, but for anyone that lives in my neighborhood, you've already seen it. It's so darling. For our listeners, a little backstory. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how it is that you came to run a business selling people gorgeous mid-century, modern house numbers?
Absolutely. Well, Rick and I met in architecture school. So Rick and I founded the company together. We'd always wanted to be entrepreneurs. It's something that neither of our parents did or their parents, but it's just something that we were always really individually passionate about. And so I finished my degree in architecture. I have a master's in urban planning. And so I was working as an urban designer, and we bought our first home, which was like a 1950, 900 square foot ranch home. And in the process, we remodeled the interior. It was awesome. And we got to the outside, we did all the landscaping, and we really started from scratch. And when we got to the house numbers, we wanted to make like a big, bold statement, and we couldn't find what we wanted. So we were like, let's just make them. And so
there you go.
We made them, we put them up. And then by like the 10th person knocking on the door that we didn't know, just walking down the street, asking where we got them, we thought, oh, geez, there's a niche, there's a need for this. Other people have this aesthetic, want this aesthetic. We wanted to be entrepreneurs. We have full-time jobs, but let's start this on the side and see what happens. And so we are 13 years old right now, and we've grown to much bigger than we ever expected. We would, thanks to our wonderful customer and those that love mid-century modern and modern design. And so we're just so fortunate to be here, and it's just fun to go to work every day and to work on something that you love and you're passionate about it, and you can share it with others and they can express their modern style as well.
I love that. And this resonates so strongly with me. When I first started remodeling my house, I didn't put up official modern house numbers. I was too cheap to buy the sort of design within reach ones. And I was like, I hate everything that's at Home Depot. So I ended up not not going the metal fabrication route, which I have questions about that for you in a minute, but I actually got some of that just like stick up rice paper you can put on the inside of your windows and carefully cut out in Helvetica font the numbers for my house and put it on the window, which I think technically wasn't appropriate for the street. I still had the exterior house numbers up at that point, but I just wanted something that was beautiful and I wasn't finding it. So that impulse, I mean, honestly, I run this, my whole design business grew out of, I wanted someone to tell me how to remodel a ranch the right way and no one was telling me. So I started to figure it out and then tell other people. And now here I am.
I love your passion. I love it. See, it's fun for you to go to work every day too, right?
I love it so much. So where did you have the ability to fabricate themselves? Did you find a local fabricator? How'd you make your first numbers?
Sure. My husband had just gotten out of his master's degree in architecture from MIT, and he had really focused on manufacturing while he was there. And so he was instantly like, I want to be in tune to using technology and how we can, best use a material in terms of, we can use technology to really be much more efficient in terms of making products today than we could 50, 100 years ago. So to reduce the waste. And we really wanted to think about sustainability. And so we knew we wanted to do aluminum. Because most aluminum that we use anywhere in the world is recycled. So we chose that very quickly. And then with his experience at MIT, we knew we wanted these water jet cut. Well, at the time in Tucson, Arizona, where we live, there was only one person doing it. And he kind of had a shop in a not so nice area of town. And we went down and visited him. Lovely gentleman. He has since moved to a larger company, a large corporation, and they do a lot of water jet cutting for mining, for space things. So we are a very small customer for them now, but we use a water jet to cut our products. And that allows us to use the efficiency of the material and to get the real clean, crisp edges on our products.
And it works. And then did you have to go then somewhere else to get them powder coated?
Or when we first started, we just offered aluminum. And then we were kind of like, as the company started to grow, we always knew we wanted to do a paint or a powder coat. And so again, we kind of dove into that and realized that a powder coat finish lasts much longer because it's based on enamel paint instead of just a traditional paint. So I've always thought about, we want whatever you put up, whether you take them down if they ruin or not, whether it's a cheap product or not, we wanted, sometimes we should replace things sooner than we do. We wanted something that was long lasting and that, we hope that your numbers outlast you. And so we instantly went with the powder coat finish because that's something we thought was important in our just basic business principles. And so we do some powder coating internally. And then because of our volume, we do use a manufacturer in town that does some powder coating as well.
Oh, that's so much fun. Yeah, of course it didn't start off powder, why would you have a more complicated process? But this is just clearly organically growing to meet what people are asking for. And a mid-century house is going to outlast the people that live in it. The numbers should last just as long. And it's so much fun. So you're a designer. You've got some opinions, I'm sure, about how your products are best applied. So I have my own opinions, but I wanted to do some frequently asked questions about house numbers. What do you think is the best size for house numbers? And what do you guys have on offer?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think maybe to step back just a touch, I think visibility is key. You can have the best numbers on the block, but if, emergency vehicle can't find you or even your Uber driver, then there's an issue. So one, I think you need to, really make sure your numbers are visible from the street. So if you're a football field away from the curb, you might even need two sets of numbers, something close to the street as well as something on your home. Okay. But and I think to throw a little design in this to answer your question too is like you should really express yourself. If you want to be bold, go big. Even if your house is, next to the street, go big and put them vertical next to your garage door. Or, maybe you want to be more simplistic. You could put simple numbers, next to your door, horizontal or vertical, next to a light or underneath a light is always a great idea. We've seen trends of people putting them, above their garage door. Mm-hmm. And I really love, and we, in our original home had this, we built a bench in our front yard and we put them on there. But I really love the landscape elements kind of mixing it into the yard, either on a breezeway block wall or a slatted fence. And, some customers are super creative and create some kind of, almost like plaque backing that matches their home siding. They have some extra siding and might make like some kind of cool backing and put the numbers on them and then kind of put them in the landscape in their yard. I keep looking out to my yard as we're talking.
It's such a DIY friendly thing too, because if even if you are worried about, I don't want to, could I reside my house? That's kind of a technical thing, but you can make any type of a yard object, and hopefully you do it well and it lasts forever. But, if you're just experimenting, you could try it and then it maybe needs updating in a couple of years. It's very like experimental friendly. Mm-hmm. And I love this list you're saying is all places I have sketched them onto designs for clients of over the garage door. Let's get them vertical or let's do a little smaller. I think another thing you'd mentioned was by a light, and having light shine on your house numbers is a great idea. And with yours, you get the extra benefit because there are, what's the word? Floating. They are mounted on a little stopper. So were the original house numbers floating? Was that always something you wanted? Or is that something you came to after a couple of design iterations?
When we installed ours, and we did make a couple different ones until we just got it right. And then of course we changed it as we were developing the company. But when we installed ours, we had poured in place black concrete bench in our front yard. And we put the numbers on, and the brush lumen created a great contrast. That's another thing to really think about when you're selecting a product, is creating contrast, because if the numbers can't be seen again, then no one's going to find you. Mm-hmm. So we had put them directly flush onto the concrete, and then we realized, I don't know if we quite like that. And so then we put on spacers, and that's what we offer today. Is there's 1/2-inch spacers. You can use them or not use them. Some people choose not to use them, but it creates a nice subtle shadow. And as the sun, rotates over, the shadow rotates with the numbers. And also if there's a light, that will also create more of a contrast for visibility.
Exactly. It's a daylight shadow line. It's definitely, when you have an artificial light on it, it creates a shadow line, which helps with contrast. Although you're right, choosing a color that contrasts with whatever the backing material is, whether it's stone, brick, siding, etc. Mm-hmm. And you have advice, I thought, when I got my modern house numbers a couple of years ago, you did a lovely job of sending them along with a printed sort of things spaced out paper that I could put on the wall and think about how it was going to fit, and then put the holes in the proper spots. And I could have cut that paper apart and rearranged them so I could still get the holes in the right spot. You had some advice for how to mount it into siding versus into brick or concrete and things like that. That was 3 or 4 years ago. I wonder if this is something you're always developing, as people are asking questions about new materials, and that's causing you to sort of brainstorm new ways to help people affix their numbers to their house.
I think most building materials remain the same. There might be a new method of making it, but we don't get that question very often, like of a new material we haven't heard of. But I think one thing that does set us apart, and one thing that we were very intentional when we started the business, is we knew that not everyone was going to be a designer like us and might not know. I don't know how many people drove down the street and seen house number crooked or like oddly spaced. So we're very deliberate to give our design experience to all of our customers. So any order that's placed, we still custom align each number with the appropriate spacing. And so it'll not only be aligned horizontally or vertically, but also the spacing is already pre-calculated for you. So you have one installation template. You're not taping different templates together and trying to figure out the right alignment and spacing. So at the end of the day, you tape for your template, you drill your holes, you install your numbers, and you have a professional architecture look. And that was really important to us because, again, you could buy the best numbers, but if they're not aligned or they don't look right or they're slightly off, then it won't give you the final product that you were really hoping for.
Exactly. Yeah, no, the process was so easy. And of course, I decided to go and make my life harder because I wanted to mount them to a yard fence and then be able to take them off again in the spring, stain the fence and put them back on. So I went to the hardware store and got threaded rod and bolt backs and whatnot. But it was also such a nice, the system was really easy to customize for me. So I think, yeah, good design always pays off when you're thinking about how things are manufactured and also how you get instructions on how to put them together. You're not, all props to IKEA. I love putting together IKEA flat pack stuff, but the instructions are not mysterious for how to install your house numbers.
How often have you been missing a part?
Right. Right. No, and everything came so nicely. Yeah, you guys do a great job with presentation, which, that's a momentary experience of the lifetime of your house numbers, but that's still really nice. So I'm curious about, you must have a lot of insight into what people are asking for because you have data about what people are ordering. What's your most popular color, finish, and font style? I'm really curious.
Yeah, great question. It changes yearly, which is very interesting. Not only the size, but the finish. Right now, the most popular, and this size is typically about the same. I would say 6-inch is probably the most popular size. I would say our second most popular right now is 8-inch, and we offer 4, 6, 8, 12, and 15. So that's for the residential customer. Obviously, the 12 and 15 are mostly used for commercial uses, except the bold, modern enthusiast that wants to make a real big statement. But in terms of color, matte black is the most popular, and that's a trend that we've seen over the last couple of years of like a darker color, where originally like the brushed aluminum was much more popular than the dark finishes. And then the last, probably 4 years, the matte brass is also really popular. I would say particularly with mid-century modern enthusiasts. That's just a color that was iconic to that time period. So
yeah, it blends so nicely in with the other material choices and color choices that people are choosing there. It's interesting. So obviously modern house numbers, they could be put on any era of house, and everyone who's listening to this podcast is probably fairly firmly in the mid-century camp. But do you have a sense from, well, people don't have to tell you what style their house is, but they post photos and tag you and whatnot. Do you have a sense for how many different styles people are putting your house numbers on?
I think that's such an interesting question, because I think a lot of people assume, oh, it's modern, it's not for me, maybe if they're more traditional. But we have seen so many modern house numbers put on very traditional homes and every style of home. And it's just so cool to see that someone could make, a small investment and express their personal style on their home, whatever style it is. But I would say that probably the most common question we get is not only about size and color, but about font. And, what is the most popular font? A lot of people ask that, or where they'll send us pictures of their home and say, like they do with you as well, and say, what should we choose? And I always like to give people a couple options. Our most popular font is the Palm Springs font. But it's nice to have like a contrast and see maybe a little bit more curve or something a little thinner. Or I love when customers mix numbers and letters together, like they might spell out one and then 52 in the numbers. So I love the creativity that our customers come up with. We try to give some inspiration too with our design background. It's really popular right now. A couple years ago, just went a photo with the lowercase no dot and then like double size house numbers, like 52 to go next to it. That has been popular ever since we posted one photo. So,
you said that and I immediately called to mind one or possibly a range of Instagram photos that I've seen come across your feed that, it's so cute. And it's really fun. I mean, this is not an expensive part of your home remodel. So do people often spell out their whole house number with letters?
It's very popular with our Santa Barbara font, which is more of a traditional curve font, for people to spell out their like 22-7 or whatever it might be. But that's very popular, in particular in that font.
That's a fun thing to do too. If, like you said at the beginning of the conversation, if you need to put your house number in two places, on the house and out by the curb, to do one of them as just numerals and one of them spelled out. I think, I mean, that's something I draw into my clients' designs a lot, because I just think it's a fun way to put something visual on the house. You're choosing a color or a metal finish for it that can tie in with other things. So maximize it, have fun. Do you find people come to you for a lot of other things besides just their street numbers? I know you do like plaques with negative space cutouts. Do people do brand logos or things like that?
Yeah, we do logos for customers. Some custom home builders that we do will put their logo in like a house plaque, so they'll have the address numbers and then their logo, which kind of just identifies it as their own product that's custom. We have done things for universities and for different towns and cities. And we do have a large commercial base that uses this as well. So we will do all wayfinding signs, like within a condo complex in New York, for example, or things like that, identifying different floors or where the elevator, or the restroom, or things like that. So we love doing custom stuff too. That's one thing that keeps Rick and I really interested in the business. Is you'd think that every week of our orders would be really similar, but no week is ever the same. And it's really fun to get something big or custom in and to work on it. And that's really exciting for us. So we still do lots of custom proofs for customers each week, whether it be a residential customer is trying to decide between a couple of fonts or finishes, or a commercial project where we're designing all custom signage for it.
That's really fun. As the business runner, that makes it really interesting and exciting. So for homeowners, that's just a fun fact. But I think that's really interesting. Is it available if somebody wanted to talk to you about like a custom logo for their house? Is that a sort of thing you might do, or does it need to be a bigger order? In order to justify that?
No, we do custom stuff all the time. So we will do custom fonts. So if someone has a particular font that they want to, especially to a certain era, or a custom logo or something that just symbolizes them or their family, we do stuff like that all the time. We've done waves, like someone wanted their address numbers with a plaque with a wave on it because their family lived on the ocean and it was really special to them. So we've done names for kids' rooms that go on the doors, and we had someone order for their kitchen vinyl, which we do mailbox numbers that match our address numbers, but they ordered vinyl that was like coffee, tea, and they stuck it on all of their exposed containers in their kitchen. So I love to see the creativity and what people come up with.
That is so much fun. Oh, that's great. And now, before we started recording, we were chatting about you've grown. You really have a team of, how many people do you have on your staff now?
So we have just under 30 people on our staff, and they vary from Rick and I. We always have a couple high school students on staff, and then we have retirees as well. So we have a full range of a gamut of ages. We also always have a college student or two, because the University of Arizona is in our town, and we feel that it's really important to support students and provide them a professional experience before entering the workplace. And my dad works for us as well. Aww. And several of our very close friends. So it's very much a family environment, and it's such a pleasure to go to work every day and to work with people that are passionate about what we're passionate about, and to share our personal interests as well.
That's so much fun. I imagine, you're making a product, you're shipping it. So what is the part of the process that takes the most person hours to get numbers to people?
Well, there's a lot of legwork that goes into every order before an order is even purchased, in terms of, the website design, keeping up inspiration with photos, right. Everything that we do on our social media accounts, and all that stuff is very fun. But once an order comes in, like I said, it's not just like these, common products are purchased and then we're boxing them. We make everything custom made to order. So when an order comes in, we have designers, including myself, that will take the actual numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and align them and get the spacing just correct. And from there, we'll print a template for that order, and then we'll move actually the numbers into the manufacturing process with the water jet. So I would say that initial setup and kind of getting the product moving is probably the most time intensive part of the process.
I bet. And you do have a couple preset ones, or are they sitting on a shelf somewhere, your quick ship, or are they just your fastest turnaround process?
So with the quick ship, that's something that's newer for us, and we just expanded it as of the new year to offer. We've always offered 6-inch Palm Springs black and aluminum, but we expanded to include some letters A through E because it seems really common that people might have like a second unit. So we have included some initial like numbers and then our letters, and then we've included 4 to 8-inch size now because those are currently our most popular size. We created the quick ship products because we're all just so used to instant gratification, or someone might also have like a home inspection and need the numbers now.
Right.
So we, had experience like trying to rush things for customers, and we really didn't keep any inventory. And so we thought, well, let's do this, see how it goes. And it's been a real big success for us. And so we do still custom make all of those products, just like we do our other products that we sell, but we do keep those in inventory so that we could ship them out if someone needs them right away through the quick ship program. So something we're still exploring and expanding and trying new things with. But that's the fun part of the business, really.
It is. And, we're all a little spoiled on instant gratification these days, but I actually think it's kind of fun to just realize that it's not just a small business. It's custom made. There is a human eye on the design of every piece of it. And to me, that's really fun, is getting to choose the combination of the font, the finish, how it's going to be set up, and knowing that you guys are participating in that. That's really exciting. I could keep chatting about this for a while, but before I let you go, I wanted to say, I noticed that there was a sale on your website. How long does that go on for?
Yeah, so we do have a sale right now, but I was going to extend to your customers in particular and your followers a custom sale just for you guys.
Oh.
So please feel free. So the sale that we have currently will be ending in about a week, but the sale that's for you guys will go much longer. So it's going to be mid-mod remodel 10, the number 10. So enter that at checkout and you'll get 10% off your order. So
so sweet.
So appreciate what you do and the great influences that you're leading many homeowners in their process. And we want to support you, and we appreciate you supporting us as well.
Well, it's definitely a mutual admiration society. And for everybody, I will put the text for that into the show notes. So you can go and find it and go. If you don't have modern house numbers on your house yet, I don't know why you don't, but now's a great time to get started. And I'll definitely be recommending this to everybody that comes to this weekend's Mid-Century Exteriors Clinic, because it's I literally have 3 first steps for if you want to upgrade your home: a fun color on your front door, a new mailbox, and fun new modern house numbers. And that's just the easiest thing you can do. From there, there's all sorts of architecture you can get into to make your house more 3-dimensional, more welcoming, more private, more social. The very first thing you can do is just have some fun color around it and have great house numbers. Anything you want to make sure everybody knows about house numbers before I let you go? I'll put you on the spot there.
Sure. Yeah. I think, like you were just mentioning, and that's something we hadn't talked about, like by adding, house numbers, mailbox, painting your front door, as you mentioned, these are quick things you can do in a couple hours that aren't going to break the bank. It's something you can do yourself or quickly hire a contractor to do. It shouldn't take you more than an hour or 2 to do any of those things, but it could really change the curb appeal of your home. So, I think a lot of us wait and we're like, oh, we'll do that, when it's summer, or we'll do this or that. Don't hold back, because most of the times when we finish projects like that, we go, oh my gosh, why didn't we do that years ago? So, some people might even have their house numbers sitting in a box somewhere. Pull those out, put them up. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And so don't try to do it all at once. Do things in stages and steps. And, sometimes we have more time or more resources. Do what you can when you can, because if you wait too long, nothing's ever going to be perfect, or there's never going to be the perfect time.
I could not agree more. And that is, and the nice thing too, we were talking at the beginning of how sturdy your numbers are. You could put them on right now as part of a weekend satisfaction process, and then come back a year from now and update your siding, paint, put on a small front porch addition. And those house numbers are sturdy enough, they'll come off and they'll go right back on again. So don't wait for your big project to do your quick satisfaction project.
Yeah. And if you don't like them, you can move them. No big deal.
There you go. Exactly. Well, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was delightful. Here's the takeaway. Your house numbers say so much about your home and your style. Go check out Modern House Numbers right now for some great ideas and some easy to add elements for your home update. Don't forget to use the discount code that Brandy just shared. Or if you want your shot at a free set of house numbers, plus some great comprehensive home exterior improvement advice, I will see you at the clinic on Saturday. Sign up at midmod-midwest.com/clinic if you haven't saved your seat yet. Find the transcript, the links, and the other show notes to this episode at midmod-midwest.com/1111. Next week on the podcast, we'll be shifting gears just slightly to talk about your specific mid-century style. Stay tuned for a 4-episode series on how to identify and make the most of what mid-mod means to you. See you then, and on Saturday.